Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever found yourself trapped in a cycle of overthinking, analyzing every possibility, fearing every outcome, and hesitating to take the first step? If so, you're not alone. Overthinking is like a mental prison that holds us back from progress, success, and even happiness. But today we're going to break free. Today we're going to shift our mindset from hesitation to action, from doubt to confidence. Because the truth is, no amount of thinking can replace the power of doing. It's time to silence that inner critic, trust ourselves, and take bold steps toward our goals. Are you ready to take control of your mind and your future? Let's dive in and discover how to stop overthinking and start taking action. Recognizing the paralysis of overthinking is the first and most crucial step toward breaking free from its grip. Overthinking is a habit that creeps in subtly, often disguised as preparation, caution, or deep contemplation. It starts with a simple thought, a decision that needs to be made, or a situation that requires a response. But instead of processing it efficiently and moving forward, the mind becomes trapped in a loop of endless analysis. Thoughts spiral, questions multiply, and doubts grow stronger, creating a sense of stagnation. The result is a state of mental paralysis, where action feels impossible and every choice seems fraught with potential mistakes. At the root of overthinking is the fear of making the wrong decision. The mind magnifies every possible consequence, dissecting scenarios in an attempt to find the perfect outcome. This obsession with certainty leads to hesitation, as the brain convinces itself that it must be absolutely sure before taking action. Unfortunately, absolute certainty rarely exists. And in waiting for it, time slips away. Opportunities are missed, and the cycle of regret begins. Over time, this repeated pattern reinforces itself, making it even harder to break free from the habit of overanalyzing. Another factor that fuels overthinking is the tendency to dwell on the past or worry about the future. The mind replays past events, searching for mistakes, dissecting words spoken and actions taken, hoping to extract lessons that will prevent future errors. At the same time, it projects into the future, constructing worst-case scenarios and imagining all the ways things could go wrong. This excessive focus on the past and future leaves little room for the present, where action actually takes place. The more time spent in thought loops, the less energy is available for doing what needs to be done in the moment. Overthinking can also create a false sense of productivity. The mind tricks itself into believing that by analyzing a situation from every angle, it is making progress. However, thinking without action is like running on a treadmill. There is motion but no actual movement forward. This illusion of productivity can be comforting because it feels like effort is being made, but in reality, nothing changes. The problem remains unsolved, the decision remains unmade, and progress remains stalled. Self-doubt plays a significant role in overthinking as well. The mind questions its own capabilities, constantly second-guessing every choice. Thoughts like, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? Or what if others judge me? Create a mental barrier that keeps action at bay. The more these doubts take hold, the harder it becomes to trust instincts and take decisive steps. Instead of moving forward with confidence, every action is scrutinized, leading to hesitation and inaction. Perfectionism is another common cause of overthinking. The desire to get everything exactly right before making a move creates an impossible standard that leads to endless delays. The belief that there is only one right way to do something, or that mistakes are unacceptable, keeps the mind stuck in a loop of indecision. In reality, progress is built on trial and error, and waiting for perfection only results in lost time and missed opportunities. Overthinking is often fueled by external pressures and societal expectations. The fear of disappointing others, failing in front of an audience, or not meeting expectations can be overwhelming. The mind creates scenarios of judgment, criticism, and rejection, making even simple decisions feel monumental. This fear of external validation keeps individuals trapped in their own thoughts as they seek the approval of others before taking action. However, the reality is that most people are too focused on their own lives to scrutinize every move made by someone else. The physical effects of overthinking can be just as damaging as the mental ones. Constant analysis and worry put stress on the body, leading to fatigue, tension, and even health issues like headaches and insomnia. The brain becomes overworked, and instead of gaining clarity, thoughts become more tangled. The energy that could be used for productive action is drained by unnecessary worry, leaving little room for creativity or problem solving. Breaking free from overthinking requires an awareness of these patterns. It means recognizing when thoughts are looping without leading to a decision, when fear is driving hesitation, and when the need for certainty is preventing progress. Without this awareness, overthinking continues unchecked, becoming an ingrained habit that dictates behavior. The first step toward action is acknowledging the cycle and understanding that overthinking is not a requirement for making good decisions. By identifying the paralysis of overthinking, individuals can start to regain control over their actions and move toward a mindset that prioritizes progress over perfection. Shifting from perfection to progress is a mindset transformation that allows individuals to break free from the constraints of overthinking and take meaningful action. Perfectionism is often seen as a positive trait associated with high standards, excellence, and success. However, in reality, it frequently leads to inaction, frustration, and self-doubt. The pursuit of perfection creates an impossible standard that prevents people from making decisions, starting projects, or putting themselves out into the world. Instead of moving forward with confidence, they remain stuck, constantly refining, second-guessing, and delaying action out of fear that what they produce will not be flawless. The root of perfectionism lies in the belief that mistakes are unacceptable and that everything must be executed with absolute precision. This fear of failure becomes a major roadblock, convincing individuals that if something cannot be done perfectly, it should not be done at all. The mind builds up an image of an ideal outcome, and anything less than that feels like a disappointment. This thinking creates a fear-driven cycle in which individuals procrastinate, tweak endlessly, or abandon tasks before completion because they cannot meet the unrealistic standards they have set for themselves. Instead of making incremental progress, they remain locked in an endless loop of preparation, believing that one more revision, one more analysis, or one more round of improvement will finally make their work perfect. One of the biggest challenges with perfectionism is that it focuses on the outcome rather than the process. People become so fixated on achieving a flawless result that they fail to recognize the value of learning and growth along the way. Every skill, project, or endeavor requires practice and iteration, yet perfectionism demands instant mastery. This mindset ignores the reality that success is built on a series of small, imperfect steps. It overlooks the fact that some of the greatest innovations, works of art, and accomplishments in history were the result of trial and error, not flawless execution from the start. By refusing to accept anything less than perfection, individuals deny themselves the opportunity to experiment, improve, and evolve. Perfectionism is often fueled by comparison. People look at others who appear successful and assume that their journey was smooth, effortless, and free of mistakes. Social media and curated portrayals of success reinforce this illusion, making it seem as though perfection is not only possible but expected. This distorted perception causes individuals to measure themselves against impossible standards, leading to feelings of inadequacy and hesitation. Instead of focusing on their own progress and unique journey, they become paralyzed by the fear of not measuring up. This constant comparison prevents them from starting or finishing anything because they believe their work will never be as good as someone else's. Another major consequence of perfectionism is that it limits creativity and innovation. When people are afraid to make mistakes, they become less willing to take risks. They stick to safe choices, avoid challenges, and suppress ideas that might not be immediately successful. However, breakthroughs and discoveries happen when individuals are willing to experiment, fail, and adapt. Creativity thrives in an environment where imperfection is embraced as part of the process. By letting go of the need for perfection, people open themselves up to new possibilities, fresh ideas, and unexpected solutions. They begin to see failure not as an endpoint, but as a stepping stone towards something greater. Perfectionism also has a significant impact on mental and emotional well-being. The constant pressure to meet impossibly high standards leads to stress, anxiety, and self-criticism. Every mistake feels like a personal failure, and every imperfection is seen as a flaw. Instead of feeling a sense of accomplishment for what has been achieved, perfectionists focus on what could have been better. This relentless pursuit of flawlessness robs them of the joy of progress and makes even small successes feel insignificant. The fear of falling short creates a cycle of burnout, where individuals push themselves to exhaustion but never feel satisfied with their efforts. Breaking free from perfectionism requires a shift in mindset, a recognition that progress is more valuable than perfection. Progress means taking action, even if the result is not perfect. It means moving forward despite uncertainty, learning from mistakes, and making adjustments along the way. When individuals prioritize progress over perfection, they allow themselves to grow, evolve, and improve with each step. They begin to see the value in starting before they feel ready, in embracing imperfection as part of the journey, and in recognizing that doing something is always better than doing nothing. One way to cultivate a progress-oriented mindset is to reframe failure as feedback. Instead of seeing mistakes as proof of inadequacy, individuals can view them as valuable lessons that provide insight and direction. Every setback offers an opportunity to refine skills, adjust strategies, and gain new perspectives. By shifting the focus from avoiding failure to learning from it, individuals can reduce the fear that keeps them stuck. They can start to see each attempt as a building block towards success rather than a test of their worth. Another powerful strategy for overcoming perfectionism is to set realistic expectations. Instead of striving for an unattainable ideal, individuals can focus on achievable goals that encourage steady improvement. Small incremental progress is far more sustainable than aiming for perfection from the outset. By breaking down tasks into manageable steps and celebrating each milestone along the way, individuals can build momentum and confidence. They begin to realize that forward movement, no matter how small, is more valuable than endless planning or waiting for the perfect moment. Taking action, even in the face of imperfection, creates momentum. Once individuals start, they often find that the process itself provides clarity and direction. The act of doing reveals what works and what doesn't, allowing for adjustments and refinements along the way. Overthinking and perfectionism, on the other hand, create stagnation. The longer one waits to take action, the harder it becomes to start. Progress requires stepping out of the comfort zone, embracing uncertainty, and trusting that growth happens through experience, not endless preparation. Letting go of perfectionism also means accepting that not everything has to be exceptional. Some tasks simply need to be completed rather than perfected. Not every project, decision, or effort has to be groundbreaking. Recognizing that good enough is often sufficient allows individuals to allocate their time and energy more effectively. They can focus on what truly matters rather than getting lost in unnecessary details. This shift in perspective makes it easier to move forward, make decisions, and complete tasks without getting stuck in an endless cycle of revision. Self-compassion plays a crucial role in shifting from perfection to progress. Perfectionists often have harsh inner critics that magnify every flaw and mistake. Learning to be kind to oneself, to acknowledge effort rather than just results, and to appreciate personal growth can make a significant difference. Instead of berating themselves for not being perfect, individuals can recognize their dedication, resilience, and willingness to try. This self-acceptance fosters a healthier, more productive mindset that encourages action rather than hesitation. By shifting the focus from perfection to progress, individuals free themselves from the mental barriers that hold them back. They begin to see that taking imperfect action is far more powerful than waiting for the perfect plan. They realize that every step forward, no matter how small, brings them closer to their goals. Setting time limits for decisions is a powerful strategy to break free from the cycle of overthinking and move toward decisive action. When faced with a choice, the mind often defaults to analyzing every possible outcome, weighing every risk, and trying to predict the future. While some level of evaluation is necessary, excessive deliberation leads to decision paralysis. The longer a decision is postponed, the more overwhelming it feels, and the harder it becomes to take action. By setting a firm time limit, individuals force themselves to focus on the most important factors, trust their judgment, and make a choice within a defined period rather than letting indecision lead. The human brain thrives on structure, and without clear boundaries, thoughts can spiral out of control. When a person does not set a deadline for making a decision, their mind continues searching for more information, second-guessing previous conclusions, and creating hypothetical scenarios that may never happen. This constant loop drains mental energy and creates unnecessary stress. A belief that thinking longer will lead to a better decision is often an illusion. In reality, most choices do not require endless analysis, and many decisions can be made just as effectively in a shorter time frame. Procrastination often disguises itself as careful decision-making. People convince themselves that they are being responsible by gathering more details, consulting more sources, or waiting for the right moment. However, this delay is frequently a way of avoiding commitment and responsibility. Fear of making the wrong choice prevents action, and in the pursuit of certainty, individuals end up stuck in a cycle of hesitation. Setting a time limit removes this escape route. It forces a shift from passive contemplation to active decision-making, reducing the likelihood of getting trapped in a state of endless deliberation. One of the biggest reasons people hesitate when making decisions is the fear of regret. They worry that if they choose one path, they will later wish they had taken another. This fear is rooted in the belief that there is a single correct choice and that every other option is a mistake. In reality, most decisions are not permanent, and even if an outcome is not ideal, adjustments can always be made. The act of making a choice and moving forward is often more beneficial than waiting indefinitely in search of the perfect answer. A set deadline reinforces this perspective by creating a sense of urgency and preventing unnecessary worry about every possible consequence. Time limits also help individuals avoid the paradox of choice. When too many options are available, the decision-making process becomes more complicated. The brain struggles to compare endless possibilities, weighing pros and cons in a never-ending loop. The more options there are, the harder it becomes to feel confident in any one choice. This phenomenon often leads to decision fatigue, where a person becomes so mentally exhausted from analyzing choices that they end up avoiding the decision altogether. By establishing a specific time frame, individuals reduce the mental burden and simplify the process, allowing them to focus on the most relevant factors rather than getting lost in excessive details. Another advantage of setting time limits is that it promotes action-oriented thinking. Instead of passively considering all possible scenarios, individuals begin to approach decisions with a sense of purpose. They shift from abstract speculation to concrete steps, asking themselves what information they truly need, what risks they are willing to take, and what outcome they are aiming for. This structured approach improves clarity and confidence, making it easier to commit to a decision without unnecessary hesitation. In many cases, quick decisions are just as effective as slow, deliberate ones. Studies have shown that people often make better choices when they rely on intuition rather than overanalyzing every detail. The subconscious mind processes information in ways that are not always immediately obvious, drawing from past experiences, learned patterns, and deep-seated knowledge. When given too much time, individuals tend to overcomplicate their thinking, introducing doubts and unnecessary concerns that cloud their judgment. By setting a time limit, they allow themselves to trust their instincts and make more natural, confident choices. Different types of decisions require different time frames. For simple or routine choices, such as what to wear or what to eat, a few seconds to a minute may be enough. For moderately important decisions, such as planning a project or making a purchase, a few hours or a day might be appropriate. For major life decisions, such as career changes or financial investments, a longer but still defined period, perhaps a week or a month, may be necessary. The key is to establish a clear deadline based on the complexity and importance of the decision while avoiding unnecessary delay. One effective method for setting time limits is the 5-second rule, popularized by Mel Robbins. This technique suggests that when a decision needs to be made, individuals should count down from 5 and take action before reaching 0. This simple approach prevents hesitation and forces immediate commitment. While this may not be suitable for every decision, it is particularly useful for small choices and situations where overthinking tends to take over. For more complex decisions, a modified version of this rule can be applied, setting a longer but still firm deadline, such as making a decision within 24 hours or by the end of the week. Another useful strategy is the 80/20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. This concept suggests that 80% of results come from 20% of effort, meaning that excessive analysis does not necessarily lead to significantly better outcomes. By focusing on the most critical 20% of information, individuals can make informed decisions without getting bogged down by unnecessary details. Applying this principle within a set time frame allows individuals to gather essential data, evaluate key factors, and commit to a choice without wasting time on trivial concerns. Time limits also encourage accountability. When a deadline is established, individuals are more likely to follow through on their decisions. Sharing the deadline with someone else, such as a friend, mentor, or colleague, can further reinforce commitment. External accountability creates a sense of responsibility and reduces the temptation to procrastinate or overthink. Knowing that a decision must be made within a certain period adds structure to the process and increases the likelihood of taking action. In addition to improving decision-making, setting time limits fosters a sense of confidence and control, When individuals practice making decisions within specific time frames, they become more comfortable with uncertainty and more trusting of their ability to handle different outcomes. Over time, this builds resilience, reducing the fear of making mistakes and increasing the willingness to take risks. The more frequently this approach is applied, the easier it becomes to make decisions without unnecessary stress or hesitation. Perfectionism and fear of judgment often make people hesitant to commit to a choice, but time constraints help break these barriers. By focusing on progress rather than perfection, individuals learn to accept that no decision is ever completely risk-free. The goal is not to eliminate uncertainty, but to manage it effectively. When time is limited, the focus shifts from avoiding failure to making the best possible choice with the information available. This perspective reduces anxiety and empowers individuals to move forward without excessive self-doubt. Setting time limits also creates a sense of momentum. When individuals make decisions quickly and take immediate action, they build confidence in their ability to navigate challenges. Each successful decision reinforces the belief that they can handle future choices more efficiently. This momentum carries over into other areas of life, making it easier to tackle new opportunities, pursue goals, and adapt to change. Instead of being trapped in indecision, individuals develop a habit of taking action, leading to greater productivity, success, and personal growth. Taking the first small step is the most effective way to overcome overthinking and begin making real progress. When faced with a task, goal, or decision, people often become overwhelmed by the sheer size of what needs to be done. The mind fixates on the final outcome, imagining every obstacle, every challenge, and every possible way things could go wrong. This leads to hesitation, procrastination, and self-doubt. Instead of taking action, individuals remain stuck in their thoughts, believing that they need a perfect plan before they can begin. However, the reality is that action creates clarity, and the most important thing is simply to start, no matter how small the step may be. The human brain tends to exaggerate the difficulty of starting something new. The more time spent thinking about a task, the bigger and more intimidating it seems. This mental exaggeration often results in avoidance, as the brain convinces itself that the task is too complex or too difficult to handle at the moment. However, once action is taken, the task usually turns out to be much more manageable than expected. The hardest part is always the beginning, and once movement starts, momentum builds naturally. This is why taking a small step, even if it seems insignificant, is so powerful. It disrupts the cycle of overthinking and replaces it with action. Perfectionism often prevents people from taking the first step. The belief that everything must be done perfectly from the beginning creates an impossible standard that leads to paralysis. Individuals tell themselves that they need more time, more preparation, or more knowledge before they can start. They fear making mistakes or not getting things right on the first try. However, no great achievement has ever started with perfection. Every successful person, project, or idea began with an imperfect first step. Progress comes from learning, adjusting, and improving along the way, not from waiting for the perfect moment. The longer a person waits to start, the more opportunities they miss, and the more difficult it becomes to take action. Breaking a large task into smaller, more manageable steps is one of the most effective ways to overcome the fear of starting. Instead of focusing on the entire goal, individuals can shift their attention to the very first step they need to take. This could be something as simple as writing down ideas, making a phone call, researching options, or setting up a basic plan. The key is to make the first step small enough that it feels easy to accomplish. Once that step is completed, the next one becomes clearer, and momentum begins to build. Momentum is a powerful force. Once a small action is taken, it becomes easier to take the next one. The brain shifts from a state of hesitation to a state of engagement, making further progress feel more natural. This is often referred to as the snowball effect. One small step leads to another, which leads to another, and soon a significant amount of progress has been made. The key is to initiate movement, even if the first step feels tiny or unimportant. The simple act of doing something, no matter how small, creates a sense of accomplishment and motivates further action. Procrastination thrives in the absence of action. When a person delays starting, their brain finds ways to justify the delay, excuses appear, distractions become more appealing, and the task at hand starts to feel even more overwhelming. However, when the first step is taken, procrastination loses its power. The mind shifts from avoidance mode to action mode, making it easier to keep going. Taking even the smallest step disrupts the habit of procrastination and replaces it with a habit of doing. Over time, this shift in behavior becomes a natural part of how challenges are approached. Fear of failure often prevents people from starting. The mind plays out worst-case scenarios, imagining embarrassment, criticism, or disappointment. However, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process. Every mistake provides valuable feedback that helps refine skills, improve strategies, and gain experience. The only true failure is never starting at all. By taking a small step, individuals begin to realize that failure is not as catastrophic as they imagine. They learn that they can adapt, adjust, and move forward even when things do not go as planned. Confidence is built through action. Many people believe they need to feel confident before they can start something new, but in reality, confidence is a result of taking action. The more steps taken, the more experience gained, and the more confidence naturally develops. Waiting for confidence before starting is a trap that leads to endless hesitation. The only way to become confident is to take action despite uncertainty. Each small success reinforces the belief that progress is possible, creating a cycle of increasing self-assurance and motivation. The brain releases dopamine, a feel-good chemical, when progress is made. Even completing a small step provides a sense of achievement, which reinforces positive behavior. This is why setting small, achievable goals is so effective. Each completed step triggers a dopamine release, making the process more enjoyable and increasing the likelihood of continuing. When overthinking is replaced with action, the brain starts associating productivity with positive emotions, creating a natural motivation to keep going. One practical technique for taking the first step is the 2-minute rule. This rule suggests that if a task takes less than 2 minutes to do, it should be done immediately. If a task is larger, it should be broken down into a version that can be started in 2 minutes. The goal is to make starting so easy that there is no reason to delay. For example, if someone wants to start exercising, they might commit to doing just 1 push-up. If they want to write a book, they might start by writing 1 sentence. The idea is to reduce the resistance to starting by making the first step as simple as possible. Another technique is habit stacking, where a new small action is attached to an existing habit. For example, if someone wants to start meditating, they could commit to taking 3 deep breaths right after brushing their teeth. If they want to read more, they could place a book next to their morning coffee. By linking a new action to something already established, it becomes easier to integrate into daily life. Small steps taken consistently lead to big changes over time. Taking action also helps reduce anxiety. Overthinking often leads to stress because the brain remains stuck in a state of uncertainty. However, action provides a sense of control. When a step is taken, even if it is small, the brain registers it as progress, reducing feelings of helplessness. This is why people often feel relief once they finally start a task they have been avoiding. The act of doing replaces worry with a sense of empowerment. Accountability can be a helpful tool in taking the first step. Telling a friend, mentor, or colleague about a goal creates external motivation to follow through. When someone else is aware of an intention, there is a greater sense of responsibility to take action. Public commitments, even if they are small, increase the likelihood of follow-through. By focusing on the first small step rather than the entire journey, individuals can break free from the cycle of overthinking. The mind shifts from hesitation to action, creating momentum and reducing fear. Taking a step, no matter how small, is the key to moving forward and building confidence.